As if the major wasn't already easy enough, a gender studies professor gives free 100s to his students in all of their finals. A lecturer says that abortions are safer than dental surgeries somehow. And in our top story of the week, you will never guess how much money college campuses are getting from the Chinese Communist Party. All that and more. I'm Addison Smith. This is the Campus Countdown. We've got plenty to get to today. Our number 3 story comes out of the University of California, Riverside, where a gender studies professor there, as if the major wasn't already easy enough, has decided to give all of his students a 100 on their finals. So they're not taking finals at all. He canceled them. He tweeted this much in mid-December where he said, quote, "I canceled my students' final and just gave them all 100 on it. And I structured my winter classes around not having a final. I don't know, maybe we should just abandon the construct that is the final." Now, this tweet received a ton of attention. It got lots of support, likes, retweets, but it also got a lot of criticism. People questioning, why he would do this. So he decided to clarify in a tweet saying, quote, is there any studies or proof that shows finals are good or that they actually do something? Are there any studies or proof that show that giving out free grades to students, that defying the entire purpose of education, which is to learn and to be nourished, is there any evidence that that does them any good either? Our number 2 story of the week, hosts a lecture claiming that abortions are safer than most dental surgeries. The only problem here is that the doctors happen to disagree. During a diversity Zoom lecture sponsored by the University of Montana, student Maggie Bornstein had this to say about abortions.
"We know that abortion is a routine medical procedure. It's safer than most dental surgeries, but we're not seeing restrictions on dental surgeries during COVID."
A 32-year surgeon and physician, Dr. Al Olszewski, told Campus Reform that this was, quote, a hyper-exaggeration. I would agree with that, but I would go a step further because post-abortive complications aside, I would pretty confidently say that abortion is the very definition of dangerous if you consider what always happens to one of the parties involved. There's nothing safe about it, and there never will be. Our top story of the week is a little concerning, to say the least. American universities have accepted more than $24 million in funds from the Chinese Communist Party since 2015. This number is probably severely understated for 2 reasons that we'll get into in just a minute. But according to sources, more than 24 universities have accepted these funds from the CCP. It's worth noting that several of these schools have professors and employees who have been arrested and indicted on alleged ties with China and with the Chinese Communist Party. Now, this 24 million figure is probably severely understated for 2 reasons. One is that colleges are not required to report foreign gifts that are under $250,000. So right off the bat, that opens up the opportunity for millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in incremental gifts at a time to be given to college campuses, and they don't have to report it. The other thing worth noting is the Department of Education report found that many institutions and colleges are not in compliance with Section 117, which essentially handles or outlines all of these guidelines, and therefore billions of dollars have gone unreported. So all we know right now is that the CCP is giving our colleges exorbitant amounts of money, but it could be 5, 6, 7, 8 times more than what we think. The Chinese Communist Party is trying to fund our education system, and I'm guessing they probably want some things in return, which is why we're seeing these professors and employees that have been arrested lately over alleged China ties. That will conclude this week's episode of the Campus Countdown. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you're following us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Parler. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.